Hello everyone, welcome to StraightA. Dawson here, back with another video here today, and you're going to be getting basically 2 videos for the next 2 days because this week has been crazy for me, getting into my new job, getting to everything, getting new packages in. It feels like it's been chaotic, so getting used to a new schedule. This has been really chaotic for me. So you'll still get 2 videos here Friday, 2 videos here Saturday, and it'll be kind of an assortment. It'll be at least 2 of these videos of Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers next on this video series. But I may either do a 3rd one or I may do like a quiz video. Not too sure. We'll figure it out as it goes. But for now, today is the Buffalo Bills, and I'm excited to go over this one because I have some interesting takes here for the Buffalo Bills, because eventually I'm going to delve into teams that I think are going to do very, very well, and I think the Buffalo Bills will be one of them. So before we get started, please leave a like down below, comment any suggestions for future videos below, and leave a like on the video if you have not already. Let's get right into the video. The first, it's important to kind of go over Josh Allen. He's the quarterback next year. We're not going to question that. James Cook, running back, pretty good. Perfect. Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Curtis Samuel are the triple threat wide receivers right now. You have Chase Claypool, you have MVS, you have Matt Collins. There's a possibility that any of these 3 guys could possibly be swapped from the other 3 guys. Even Keon Coleman. I think I have very high expectations for Keon Coleman this next year, but in terms of the other 2, it's a coin flip. I think that at least Curtis Samuel will stay relevant, but who knows where the other 3 kind of land. But this team has a lot of depth when it comes to at least decent wide receivers. Then you got Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, really awesome tight end duo. They're going to get some good yardage. Offensive line, pretty damn solid, especially in the pass protection game. This team has always been very, very good about pass protection. And their defense, still damn good. It's been stepping up over years, and while they may have a little bit less of a solidified defense, especially on the defensive line, not defensive line, it's a secondary, their defensive line is still very solid. So I'm very excited to see what this roster of Buffalo Bills can do. Kind of looking again, we always look at the stats of all these players. We delve into everything, but starting with Josh Allen, he's had 4,300 yards and 29 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Not very good in touchdown interceptions, but I mean that's him and his play style. 4,300 yards passing. Looking at Josh Allen here, he has 4,300 basically, 35-14, so a little bit better there. Looking at Josh Allen, previous year 4,400, 36-15, so pretty good there. So he's gotten worse over time, so eventually he's going to peak back up, is my opinion from this. And then he got 4,500, 37-10. So he's gotten very, very much worse. So he has to eventually have to bounce back here. He can't do like 4 years in a row of being worse, in my opinion. But that's beside the point. The amount of sacks this team takes is very few: 24, 33, 26, and like 26. Offensive line for this team has always been pretty damn solid, so I'm not really too worried about how that team's going to do this year for that. Rushing, now James Cook, obviously 1,100 yards last year, pretty damn good. Average of 4.7 before. He had 5.2 when he was the backup, or not backup, but when he was the secondary option behind Devin Singletary. He got 500 yards, but 5.7 per average. He's damn efficient. James Cook's damn efficient with 2 touchdowns there. I think 2 touchdowns here, because Josh Allen has 15 rushing touchdowns. That's the most by a long shot. I think the rest of them were about 7 for Josh Allen. Granted, running back here, Devin Singletary did get 5 the previous year before that. I hate these fucking drop-down boxes so much because they obscure everything. Devin Singletary did get 7 before, and Josh Allen got 6 before. Meanwhile, Devin Singletary got 2 here, and Josh Allen had 8. So Josh Allen always has a high amount, while Devin Singletary or James Cook usually get around that 4 to 5, 6 range. Looking at the receiving yards, of course, Stephon Diggs was a solidified number 1 wide receiver. There's not one of those players. I do think that Keon Coleman will step up to that role. I think he's one of the rookies I'm very, very excited to see, and he's one of my takes, because obviously I've been playing it very safe throughout this whole thing, and I do need to eventually take some risks here. I do think Keon Coleman, based on his talent, based on Josh Allen, how well he's doing, as well as what they need from this team, Keon Coleman, I think, can fit into that role perfectly. I don't think he's going to be like 1,500 yards or anything, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But, I mean, there's that potential. With Stephon Diggs being as good as he is, 1,500 yards, of course. But then you have other receiving threats of like 1,200 yards with the Stephon Diggs. But everybody else behind Stephon Diggs in previous years have not been too much. Cole Beasley's been one of the big notable ones. But granted, Cole Beasley back then was really damn good. Meanwhile, Gabe Davis also kind of got in that conversation a little bit. Everybody else really, really low. Even the previous year, you saw Gabe Davis kind of step up, but most of the people kind of hovered around the 700 mark, which is really, really hard to do. So usually the wide receiver depth behind Josh Allen, or not Josh Allen, but Stephon Diggs is usually pretty rough. So I do think it's going to step up because either Keon Coleman's going to get a little bit more of the target share, but also he has a lot of great depth on this team with Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, these and Keon Coleman, Chase Claypool, MVS. I think all these players are going to play some kind of good role for this team, and I'm very, very excited to see the amount of yardage each of these players get because I think it's going to add up a lot more on the bottom end that adds up to Josh Allen's total yards. Either way, looking at sacks here in previous years, 54 sacks, 18 interceptions, very, very good. Defense, again, has been very, very good in the past. And I'm 40 sacks, 17 interceptions, so big drop off in terms of sacks from the previous year, 42 and 19. Damn good on the interceptions ratio. Now, granted, this is when they had a pretty good secondary, 38 and 15. I mean, their secondary was damn good from a lot of these standpoints, and I think it has gotten worse this year. So will they step up to that level? I'm not too sure. It's anybody's guess there. We'll kind of delve into the more specifics of all the stats and all that, but also their schedule. We'll see how kind of the Buffalo Bills land because I think they're a very volatile team, but eventually something's got to turn right for them. And I think this next year will actually be a good momentum booster for them. Again, looking at the Buffalo Bills, here are my predictions for each of these stats. I think Josh Allen will very rarely ever go over 4,500 yards again. I think he's just too risky, so a lot of his plays end up not turning out the way he wants. But I think he's still very consistently within that 4,000 range, and I'm not going to pass it by him. 33 passing touchdowns, again, a little bit step up from this previous year, but still in line with one of his other years too, but still on the higher end too. So Josh Allen doing very, very good. We didn't talk about his rushing yards, but again, 600, 650 is a little bit on the lower side for him, I believe. I think he usually is around 700. So I still think on the ground he's going to be really, really good. I think he's still going to utilize that. I just think that he's someone who's always played it decently safe and is able to kind of utilize that to its best advantage. 10 rushing touchdowns seems a little bit low, but I mean, this last year was like 18 rushing touchdowns, which was ridiculously big. Which I'm not saying he can't do that. I'm just saying I don't think it's as likely that he'll do that again because that was a big peak. I'm going to go take him back down to earth. You can see this probably being 11 or 12, but I'm going to go 10 as my prediction. And 16 interceptions. He usually keeps it about half. I'm going to say his ratio gets slightly better next year. No particular reason, just kind of threw out a number. James Cook, I think, will be in the 1,000 rusher club. I think it's just with how well he was utilized last year, how good he is. I think he's going to be easily in that category. 6 rushing touchdowns, again, seems to be a trend. It seems like James Cook will eventually kind of get some of the rushing touchdowns there, but he probably won't be the goal line back. I'm not too sure how the backups will go and be instituted in. But I think 6 rushing touchdowns is very fair. I think it's on the higher end of all the rushing running backs on this team in the last 4 years. So I think 6 rushing touchdowns, very, very solid, but nothing like too crazy for James Cook. Because I don't think he's unbelievably amazing. Oh, excuse me. So the wide receiver 1, 2, and the tight end here. My prediction is Khalil Shakir. I'm going to say he has a slightly better year than he has in previous years. I'll say he hovers around that 700 point, but I don't think he gets above 700. He will have 3 receiving touchdowns, I believe. Keon Coleman, big step up. I think he's going to get that 1,000-yard club, and I think he's going to have 12 receiving touchdowns. I think he's going to be a big piece for Josh Allen this next year. I just think he's got that catching talent to make some awesome plays out there, and I think Josh Allen's looking for that guy. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Dalton Kincaid, I debated on whether I should boost Dalton Kincaid up a little bit and take away some from Keon Coleman, but I think I like this because the tight ends are more used for those kind of short, 2nd and 5 type downs for this team, as well as just dual threat action to keep the secondary guessing. So Dalton Kincaid, 799 yards, usually what he hovers around, but I think he's going to be in the higher end of that, and 3 receiving touchdowns. That feels a little low, I'll be honest. I thought about 4, thought about 5, but we're going to go 3 for Dalton Kincaid. I think Keon Coleman will be really great. I think Khalil Shakir will be on the higher end, probably along with, I forgot who the third receiver already was, but, with whatever that third, Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel will probably be hovering around that. If anything, I do think Curtis Samuel actually has more potential to get over 700 yards than Khalil Shakir, but I'm going to say for now that either one of them would be under 700 yards. Dalton Kincaid, I just like him. I think he's going to be very efficient, and I think he does have the potential to reach up to 800, 900 yard point, but I just don't think the Buffalo Bills, with their talent at receiver, will hover around the tight ends completely. Either way, O-line predictions, I think they're going to allow less than 30 sacks. I think this O-line's amazing. I love this O-line. This is the highest tier, and we need some teams that have some good O-lines. And most of the other good O-lines are really rushing based, and so I'm going to say that the Buffalo Bills are less than 30 sacks. Their own personal sacks, I think they take a big step down from their previous year, but I still think they're pretty solid on pressure. So 44-40 is kind of where I stand with their defense. Then looking at their interceptions, as I debated on putting their secondary one notch less, but I think with how good they scheme, with how good the coaching scheme is there, I think that there's still the potential to reach 17. I think I see a more likely scenario where they get to the 17, 18, 19 that I see from like 16, 15, 14 from this team. Just because of how risky the Buffalo Bills play, and a lot of the opponents they play against are susceptible to interceptions. So I am going to go with basically interception per game. Could it be fall flat? Absolutely. But we'll see. I think at the very least you can put them in the 16, 15, 14 category. So take that as you will. The 2024 opponents. Now breaking this down a little bit, taking their division, I think they'll probably go 5-1. But 4-2 is a reasonable place because I think they could easily sweep the Patriots. They probably split with the Dolphins and Jets. Now they do have a couple of tough games here. I'm not going to lie to you here. But they're a team that can compete with these tough games. 49ers, Chiefs, say they split it, you know. So I got them at 4-2, so now they're 5-3. Then you got the Cardinals, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. I think they win all three of these games. I don't even see it too much. You can maybe put Jacksonville in one of the things where maybe like they split the Jacksonville Texans game. But instead, I'm going to say that they actually only win one of the Texans, Colts, Rams games. So that's 9-5. And then I think you gotta add the Ravens and the Lions here. They could split there, 10-6, and then you got the Seattle Seahawks, which I think they can win that too. Now, with that said, so with that logic, they kind of easily go 11-6 for me. I'm gonna take it one step forward. I'm gonna say they go 12 or 13 wins. I think they have potential to win 2 out of 3 of the games for the Texans, Colts, and Rams. I think that they could beat both the Chiefs and 49ers. I think the Ravens and Lions are both beatable teams. I think while this schedule is very, very tough, the Bills are a gritty team, and that if they stay healthy, this could be very scary. So, to keep consistent with my ratios, I do need some teams in the 12 to 13 win category. It's hard to predict that. It really is. It really, especially on a bell curve where some teams might not get to 14 plus, but it's something you still have to predict. How well are they actually going to do? And I think the Bills can easily reach that 12-5 record. And I think that's my prediction from this next year. This is going to be a hot contentious one because I love the Buffalo Bills, and I also think they're really, really fucking talented. And I think they have that potential. I say that every year, though. They could fall flat on their face, but I think everybody's kind of counting them out a little bit. Everybody's kind of looking at the Bengals like, okay, is Joe Burrow back? Okay, maybe. Ravens, look how hot they were. Texans are emerging stars. People are talking about the Tennessee Titans even. It's like the fucking AFC South in general. People are like, oh my gosh, they could do well. Dolphins, are they still able to be explosive like they were the previous year? I think everybody's ignoring the Buffalo Bills, and I think that's a mistake. I think the Buffalo Bills are way better than some people give them credit for, and I'm standing on that hill. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. StraightA Dawson's out of here.